Guys, this is Chanda Rankin from ChandaRankin.com, coming to you out of the Heartland. And I know I said yesterday I would never do a live right after I worked out. And I'm a liar, because I just got back from walk, jog, running down the trails here in town. And it's such a gorgeous day, I wanted to do that. And I decided that I was going to go a little bit further today, because each day I try to push myself just a little bit. So as you can see, I'm in my workout clothes still, but I put a hat on. That's a good thing. So I just got done working out, and when I decided to go just a little bit further, that means to, cross the road down this little hill. It's still on the trail, but there were a lot of trees being cut down off on one side. They're kind of cleaning up a little bit because there are older trees and some of the branches are ready to fall down. And obviously some trees just fall and they sit there and they dry out and, decompose, which, returns them to where they came from. They go into the ground and they fertilize it, give it nutrients, etc. So of course, I picked a piece of wood up and I brought it all the way back. I don't know how far I was, but I'm sure people thought I was strange running with a piece of wood in my hand, because it wasn't really little. I have it right here. It is this piece of wood. It's actually kind of cool. I'm going to show you this because I'm not going to pick it up again, but I wanted it because I think there might be a burl in there and I wanted to check it out. I wanted to see. But then as my mind kept going on the way home, I'm like, this would be a cool sculpture just like this, and flatten the bottom and sand it and expose the burl. I believe that it's in there. See that kind of bump right there? And if you don't know what that is, it's a really beautiful pattern in the wood when it's growing. And obviously this, you might be able to see it better on this side. Whoops. And this is full of bugs and dirt. I just want you to know, because I brought it outside right away because I set it on the counter for 1 second when I came inside, and it was like, we're free, bug escape. So I was smashing bugs on the counter, and so I brought it out right away. So I don't know what friends I'm holding right here. But anyway, this side, you can see that bump right here, and I'm going to make it into something really cool, and I'll show you later on. But right now it's, some of the pieces are really dry and falling off, and there's, I think, some sort of fungus right there. I don't really know. And some pieces are falling off right now. But that's okay, because I'm going to knock those off anyway. And I actually pulled off a couple of pointy pieces on the way back so I didn't stab myself while I was running with this piece of wood. One lady wouldn't make eye contact. I don't know if she thought I was going to attack her or what, but I was not doing that. I just brought it back for a project. It's really dried out, so it's been there for a while. But I was starting to tell you about a burl. That means the tree was damaged when it was growing. So it started growing in a different direction, hence the L shape here. And the inside of that joint starts having a different look to it, and it's really cool. So I thought it'd be a cool sculpture to make like this, and just smooth it out, and it could be a kind of a bowl or a serving dish with a higher end on one side with that burl supporting it. Anyway, we'll see what that comes out with. If Tracy's just joining us, Tracy, I'm showing my piece of wood that I just got on my walk run from outside, and I carried it all the way back while I was exercising. And I don't know who else does that. Probably no one, but you never know. So I could see that in that piece of wood. My mind just, a bug just came out of it right now. Well, that's to be expected. It was full of bugs on the ground. Tracy, I grabbed that because I think there's a burl in that bulged out corner, and I wanted to expose that and make a sculptural piece out of it. Sculptural piece, and maybe usable too for maybe putting food or knickknacks or whatever you want to put on it, or just leave it as a sculptural piece. So that is my piece of wood I just carried back from working out in my exercise clothes here. And even though it's dirty and it's misshapen, it has fungus and bugs in it and has pointed, sharp parts. I could see that potential of what's going to be in there. That'll be so cool. Because I like doing that just with my hands, not just all power tools. Of course, I will use some, but I was actually in a woods class in college. I took 1 semester of woods, and we did some basic stuff. What did we make? We made a wood table that we designed. We made a sculpture. Those might have been the only things, because those took a while. But, you know, we learned how to make different joints, like dovetail joints. Yeah, dovetail joints. See, I learned a lot. But we used routers and, you know, all the power tools that we needed to do that, because they had an awesome shop at Iowa State. So I'm showing you one sculpture, I will be in 1 second, that I made in there. And speaking of just working with your hands, this piece, we had some certain stipulations, and I stuck to the rules. I know some people did not. But we basically had to start with a block. And initially we could use some larger power tools like a bandsaw to kind of get the bulk of the wood out that we wanted removed, to get out of that negative space. And I don't mean negative as bad, I mean positive negative spaces in art terms. So we could cut that out, but primarily we had to use our hands, hand tools, not power tools. And another thing we needed to do to make that block of wood, we had to glue them together. Or you know what laminated wood is? That is what it is. It's gluing different pieces of wood together to make one piece. So that's what I did, glued it all together, made one block of wood. And we also, this is another stipulation, we also had to use at least 2 species of wood. And honestly, I don't remember what kind of wood the main one is that I used. And it's not just like a normal, it's not oak or something like that. It was a kind of unique wood that I can't remember the name. I could probably find it and look it up. But so I used that, and I used maple. And I'm going to show that to you. It's really basic, but my concept for it was cause and effect. And think about it, this started off with a block of wood, yay big, and what I did was made a sculpture like that. So cause and effect, I was kind of thinking like, I'm sorry, I'm talking to Paul. He just left me a comment. You're intrigued to know what I find in there as far as the wood? Do you mean bugs or the sculpture? I will let you know, but it will not be today. I guarantee that. But I'll show you when it happens. So this is a sculpture I made. It's pretty basic, but you can see on the back kind of where the wood is glued together like this. You can see those strips. Oh yeah, I will show you that burl when I find it, Paul. But not today. So this piece you can also see on the front where the strips, I don't know if you can see very well, I can't tell by my phone because it's really bright out, but you can see the strips run vertically as I'm showing you, and that's where the pieces were glued together. And it had a really pretty grain, and that's why I chose a little bit different type of wood. You can see it a little better like that. See it? So my concept was cause and effect. You know how if you bounce something or you I don't think it was walnut. I think it's too light to be walnut. I don't know. I don't remember what it was. This is the maple. It's lighter, but it has a finish on it. That's why it looks a little bit darker. But this is just like hard maple. And then this, I will look it up and find out what in the world I used. Here's the graining on the back. You can see that. But it's a fairly light wood, and the grain was pretty pronounced. So anyway, we went to this big warehouse where they had all sorts of, you could get exotic woods, you could get normal woods like oak and maple and cherry and whatnot, but this was a little bit different. So I chose a unique one. So back to the concept, it was cause and effect. So if you see a drop in a puddle, this is kind of like a puddle, you see one drop come up higher, and then the momentum loses traction a little bit, and then you get the lower one. So that's what that's all about. Anyway, I just wanted to show you that because this started out as a block and I created a sculpture out of it. And I still have it around 17 years later. So that's my little sculpture right there. Little sculpture. That's not too little, but anyway, so my point in all of this is we all start out kind of like that slab of wood or an unfinished piece of clay. Actually, there's a, we're referred to as the clay, and God is referred to as the potter. Actually, he helps form us. Or we could start out as a giant slab of granite or marble. I don't know if you've ever seen any unfinished pieces or slabs like that. I work in the design field, so I have seen that. And then by the time you get it into a countertop, it's nice and smooth and polished and the right size, and it's been worked on. They've worked it through the different tools that they use. I don't know exactly what they use for stone, but like for wood, you would, I think some people used a planer to go through their items after they glued them together to smooth, so both the front and back were all even. And like I said, we use the bandsaw. Some people use drills or routers or sanders. We were supposed to sand it by hand, and I did that. Spent very many hours one day on my aunt and uncle's porch sanding on the deck. And I know some people cheated and used power tools, but anyway, I kind of am a purist that way. So we kind of start out that way in our lives. And a lot of times other people see our potential and they start to chip away at a little chunk to try to uncover that potential. We do need to keep cutting away what we don't need. But there's a great person trapped. I believe there's a great person trapped inside everyone that's hasn't maybe been unlocked yet to live up to their potential. And we can help in doing that, shedding